Now that is how you make a movie. Wicked for Good is a brand new musical fantasy film directed by Jon M, starring Ariana Grande, Cynthia Erivo, and Jonathan Bailey. And this is the follow-up sequel to Wicked 2024, a film that I absolutely loved, but I had not seen the musical before going into that one, and then after watching that one, with how much I loved it and I knew that there was a sequel coming out, I decided to not watch the musical at all or look into it just so I could not know what was coming in this second one. And honestly, I am so freaking happy that I did that, because this movie, Wicked for Good, is very much a part 2 to a part 1. Combined, they make up one magnificent story, you know what I mean? And although there were people in my theater that clearly knew the musical and they were sobbing, so I know fans of the musical absolutely loved this, I was just happy that all of the twists and turns, all the unexpected things that happened throughout this movie, I was happy that I did not know what was coming. One might say I had no idea what was waiting down the yellow brick road. But there's so much to talk about with this one, and so off the top, I just want to say I absolutely loved it, and let's dive into this thing. So what is up, my friends? My name is Danny. Welcome back to Jones Vibes. Today we're talking about Wicked for Good. I do want to let you know that this will be a spoiler-free review, so don't worry about that. I'm not going to ruin anything for you. Also, make sure to go down in the comments section, leave me your thoughts on Wicked for Good as we break this thing down. And without further ado, let's dive in. So the synopsis reads, now demonized as the Wicked Witch of the West, Elphaba lives in exile in the Ozian forest, while Glinda resides at the palace in Emerald City, reveling in the perks of fame and popularity. As an angry mob rises against the Wicked Witch, she'll need to reunite with Glinda to transform herself and all of Oz for good. And walking out of this screening tonight, the first thing that popped into my head was probably the question a lot of you are asking right now if you haven't seen the film. Is this movie better than the first movie? And I feel like I have a very complicated answer for that, because I almost don't feel like the question is necessary. If I really think about it, and when you look at these two films, they're just different. Each of them has their own vibe, and I like them both for different reasons. The best comparison I have, and I know that I'm leaving out a middle chunk here, but would be Fellowship of the Ring and Return of the King, right? Like, Fellowship of the Ring is in my probably top 10 films of all time. It's one of my favorite films of all time, and standalone, it is so dang good. But Return of the King, that movie won Best Picture, man. Like, it is so good. And when you watch all three of those collectively, that and Two Towers, it is just a journey. I would say the same thing about this movie. Yes, this movie, if you know the musical, if you know the second part of the story, you know that it doesn't end with Defying Gravity like the first movie does, you know what I mean? And Defying Gravity, let's all face it, is the best song from Wicked. People might disagree with me on that, but that song is amazing, and that was the moment that I realized, oh my god, I love this vision, I love this world, and I can't wait to see the sequel. Now, what the sequel does is continue that story, and you're sort of immediately hit with the fact that it's going to be a different vibe. It's going to be a different story because it is a continuation. That's why I compare it to Return of the King. Very similar here, and it's just going to be a bit darker in tone, because that's the way that this story is going. They're not at school anymore. It's not about being popular. It's not all bubbly and fun, no pun. There's some serious stuff at stake here, and so I would say my qualms with the film mainly come with just the pacing, the journey itself, because you get going and it is unfamiliar, because you just got off that ride, if you rewatch the first one before going into this one, that is just so breakneck in pace. You're just going, and when you get into this one, it kind of comes to a halt, and it takes a minute to catch its breath. But as soon as this film finds its rhythm, it captures that magic again that you love so much. A magic that is rarely felt in cinema. I talked about this in my first review, but I just feel like Jon M managed to create a world that felt like its own living and breathing thing. That is the Oz that we know. If you grew up watching The Wizard of Oz all the time like I did, I know that world very well. It's very nostalgic, and over the years there were some attempts to try to recapture that magic, like Oz the Great and Powerful, you know what I mean? But it didn't quite get there. The magic for me of Wizard of Oz was like sitting in my grandmother's home and watching The Wizard of Oz for her. It's that really special feeling, and I don't know how he did it, but I realized that in the first film, that he captured that feeling for me. And in this sequel, he just takes it one step further. Like, the music, it might not be as catchy as the first, it might not be as happy as the first, but the set piece pieces are so freaking massive. It's so cinematic that you are just captured up within it. And then on top of that, you're also dealing with a property, again, with Wizard of Oz that people grew up with. And this is the part of the story that brings all of those elements in that you know. It brings in the Tin Man and the Scarecrow and the Cowardly Lion and all of that stuff. You know what I mean? At some point, the story has to get there. And when it does, Jon Chu, I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but he does it in such a tasteful way that doesn't take away from the story that Wicked is trying to tell. The story of Elphaba and Glinda. And guys, I just want to talk about the cast really quick because they deserve it. They deserve a little bit of time here. I think that Cynthia Erivo was as good as she was in the first film. She's just so freaking great, and her voice is out of this world. And so the character of Elphaba, seeing that brought to life, seeing that what she does with it, there wasn't much more that she could do in the first, but she manages to get bold with some of the dramatic choices that she makes, and I really, really enjoyed it. That and Jonathan Bailey. Jonathan Bailey has much more to do in this film. In the first one, Fiyero, I felt like his character was very one-dimensional. I didn't get a lot from him, but this is the movie that he really gets to step up. Like, this was his time to shine. He gets really dramatic at parts, and I just like Jonathan Bailey a lot as an actor, but truly, the standout for me in this film was Ariana Grande. I feel like the first part, Wicked, that was all Cynthia Erivo, that was all Elphaba, that was Defying Gravity, and you left that going, God, that Cynthia Erivo is freaking insane, her vocals are crazy. And this one, I left it going, I think Ariana Grande could win Best Actress. Never expected to say that sentence in my life, but I truly think so. It's not just the voice in this movie, it's not just the fact that she can sing, she is a really, really great actress. And with this film having a darker tone, with all of the stuff with Glinda and Elphaba, especially towards the end of this movie, the emotion that Ariana Grande managed to capture, I mean, you could just feel the entire audience in our theater losing it at a couple parts, and that's brilliant. It was brilliant to see in a movie like this, and when you're building up this world like Jon Chu is, you have this massive franchise going, you need star power. It's like a baseball team. You need Ohtani, right? You need that home run, and Ariana Grande delivers that in this freaking film. I also want to shout out Jeff Goldblum as the Wizard. He gets a little more screen time in this one than he had in the first, and I love Jeff Goldblum. People can say he's just playing himself, but what if, think about this, what if Jeff Goldblum is just the perfect wizard? You know what I mean? And there are a lot of other characters and a lot of other actors that are involved, but I really want to take the time to shout out the costuming in this movie. I want to take the time to shout out the practical sets that were used, also the CGI at certain parts in this. I mean, there's so many movies that come out these days where you look at the CGI and you're like, God, what happened? You know what I mean? How is this the final product? But in this movie, some of the scenes with the animals, it is unbelievable. And when you watch a film like this, made like this, you realize the potential of modern filmmaking, like what a modern cinematic masterpiece should look like. It's almost like watching a Christopher Nolan film or a Denis Villeneuve film. I know this is a musical, but go watch it in Dolby or IMAX and tell me that it's not a freaking masterpiece. It's so good. I just loved it, man. I loved the chemistry between those two, Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande. I also loved some of the romantic scenes that they showcased in this. I don't want to give anything away as to where the story goes, but there are some like sexy kind of scenes going on in this film that was surprising to me, but the fact that it delivered on those moments just gave you more confidence in the story moving forward as you went through this film. You're just like, okay, man, if they can do that, then they can do this. You know what I mean? Also, I just think the entire Wizard of Oz thing is so special. I'm so excited for people to see that. There's so much to love about this movie. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. If I really think about my qualms with it, it's a bit of what I talked about earlier. It's just some of the pacing issues towards the front, and then also towards the back half. This is a massive story. I don't know the musical, but I'm sure it's very long, and it's like, how do you end this thing? You kind of got the feeling that towards the end, Jon Chu was like, okay, what do I do here? We have to get all of this in, you know what I mean? And so there is a bit of a clunkiness to it that the first one doesn't have, but that doesn't take away from the feeling that I got while watching this film. I do have two more things I want to talk about as well. First, I just want to talk about the music. And I know that people have been raving about this for decades, but I'm so happy that it's on the big screen now, and modern audiences such as myself get to experience it. You know, not a lot of people can go to Broadway in New York and catch, you know, a run of Wicked, you know what I mean? Or like in LA or somewhere. A lot of us have to rely on adaptations. When you see that they're adapting a musical, that's the same thing that happened with me with Phantom of the Opera. And so I fell in love with that movie just like I have now fallen in love with Wicked. The music in this is so freaking special. And I know know I talked about how the songs in this one might not be as catchy as they are in the first one, but the songs in this second one are so deep. Like the For Good song is so freaking deep. It brings tears to your eyes. I was freaking sobbing towards the end of this film because it was just so dang beautiful. So I just want to shout out the musical in general and the people behind it, because the music and the story itself just give a completely different look and brand new meaning to that original story of The Wizard of Oz. I will never watch that movie the same, and that's a good thing with how awesome this story is. But the last thing I want to say, and this is just purely to anybody that's watching this review right now, go tell people to go see this film. Encourage people to watch the first film and then watch this film, because musicals tend to get this stigma. And I know the first film made a bunch of money, and this one hopefully will make a bunch of money, but it's all about getting people out to this thing that may not have watched it in the first place. Like getting people to accept that going to a musical is a really fun thing and it's a beautiful thing. And just because it is a musical doesn't mean that it's not a film. I think Jon Chu, what he did in these two movies is he made it a cinematic experience. So even if you're not somebody that's all in, choir and theater and stuff like that, you can go and you can still enjoy this thing. So if you did see this movie, go tell some more people to go see it. You know what I mean? The cinematic experience is very important. And one of my goals for this channel is to preserve that feeling and keep the movie-going experience alive. So yeah, guys, that is all I have for Wicked for Good. As for my Jones Vibe star rating, I'm giving this film 4.5 out of 5 stars. But if you saw this movie, head down to the comments section. Let me know all of your thoughts. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Please leave me an opinion. It is always welcome around here. But more than anything, my friends, I hope you're out there keeping up the good vibes. I will see you in the next video, okay? Peace!